Hello and welcome back to RailRoads Online. So today we are running rails out to the mine for the first time. We have 4 loaded rail cars gonna make the first attempt up to the mine with a load of any sort. And in fact, I don't think we've even run a test locomotive up it. No, definitely have not. So this is gonna be a load in the 48 running rails. It'll be the rail run. Hopefully we throw some wood in here just to get it topped up. Oh, just actually put something in there. Apparently there's nothing in there. So let's get that fired up and going. Jump in the old loco and we will hit it. Just finished the run out to the, what is it, the coal mine, the long run. This one is on the multiplayer track setup that we've been working on, the track minimum or minimalist setup, whatever you want to call it, the loopy road. But we are trying to keep the rail to a minimum, so we did get the push out to the coal mine in. Now we have the iron mine, so now it's just the last ironworks refinery and oil field that still need to be hooked up on this one, but we are pushing through and making pretty good progress. I have to see how everything goes on this run. Seems like the 48's been handling everything in the mountains pretty well. Of course, this is when we actually really start getting to the mountain stuff, so we'll have to see how all of this goes. This corner is proven to be a little too tight. Gonna have to come in and smooth that one out a little bit, but other than that, this uphill run to the ore mine, we're gonna have to swing through the iron mine, excuse me, on the way out to the coal mine. That's just how this track works. We're only gonna have the one real uphill way to go on this one, as we're not running any extra track. In fact, I'm going to take the switch out for what was going to be the bypass run up here. That's going to come out because we're not going to run a bypass on this layout until we get everything complete. If everything gets completed and we still are running good, then we'll see about that. But this one is the performance test, and just try to see if we can get all industries connected with multiplayer performance still holding up. So we have been running 6 players on this setup, and so that's kind of the idea behind it, is just keep everything to a minimum and see how long we can keep that performance up. So this is just a test of the next industry track. And then I know we did get another update yesterday after the update the day before. So that did change a few things. Figure we will, didn't make a separate video for that one, but I figure we will kind of talk about the patch notes for it in this video while we are at it. Everything should be lined up to the mine. Should just have one switch out for the actual coal mine itself. Everything else should be pretty good. So this part of the track, uphill grade and all, we should just be able to pretty much cruise and not have to pay attention much. Wood's up, everything else looks good. So we'll just kind of let that go as we go over the patch notes. So looks like they fixed the incorrect truck rotation for the locomotives and the rolling stock. I think that was a problem when it came to re-railing things, that the wheels and the trucks would not line up for getting back on the rails. They were just kind of dropping and slapping and falling all over the place. It was kind of a bit of a pain there for a minute. But so that's been fixed. Player clipping into the splines and the groundwork. So that was like when we had dev speed and we're running around, get stopped by the track, foot cut in the ties kind of situation, or under the rail, however you want to look at it. But that was a thing there for a second. That's been fixed, or primarily fixed anyway. Fixed player cannot interact with the locomotives, so at the logging camp, stuff like that inside the engine house, that has been fixed and is working. Fixed that the player cannot delete old splines, so there were some rail was having a hard time being deleted, and that now is fixed. And I'm assuming some of the old splines too were having a hard time being deleted or couldn't be deleted. Fixed player cannot delete the crossover, so the 90-degree. That's been fixed. That was definitely a problem for some people. Fixed the engine shed door hitboxes. The hitboxes on the shed doors were working, but they were way up by the windows, so you had to look up high to actually get the door to open and close, so that's been fixed now. Fixed the Class 70 missing paint styles for headlight and left door. Didn't see what that one was when it was glitched, but apparently that's been fixed, so good deal. Change the switch interaction to the classic system, hold the left mouse button and drag direction. So that puts our switches back to the old school click and drag rather than the left and right mouse buttons. Have to say I prefer the click and drag. It's just kind of cleaner when you're going up to switches from different directions and you're in a hurry. Not only I had some issues with that, but I know other people who were kind of running into a problem, you know, when you were in a hurry or things were going into catastrophic mode, you know, just which left or right button you had to click was kind of a pain, and you were sending the switch stand back and forth. So click and drag, I think, does just make the system simpler, and kind of happy to see that back. And then the last one was they added a switch control helper UI. So not exactly sure what that is, but so that's there. So those were the patch notes, just going over them quick while we are just kind of cruising down the track and seeing what's happening in the world of RailRoads Online. So along with those bugs being fixed and the patch notes put from the update the day before, you put them together and we got definitely a decent performance and update package. Now that has smoothed things out pretty well. Seem to be, for most aspects anyway. I've had a lot of comments from people who are on maybe not as good of PCs, talking about they actually have performance to play again now, where they had been experiencing such low frame rates that you just couldn't play the game, and now that that's seems to be improving for them, so you know, that's a good deal. I'm not exactly sure how great the performance is still on big save files, because I've been playing on this reduced one now as kind of the main line, so I will go in and check the big save file and see if we got some performance pickup there. Obviously, I would like to get back to that setup if performance allowed, but we did have to start the new save file just for performance reasons, and this one has been doing great ever since we restarted it. So again, the old save file was converted from main branch track to the new beta, and so where and how all of that plays in, who knows, you know. But the all beta branch start and run has been running well. I think this one's doing pretty well. You know, I don't think it's perfect. I'm not going to turn around and claim that by any stretch of the word, but the performance has been, I've been very satisfied with the performance of it. So I guess I have advised people who have asked, if you start a beta file, I would, or if you switch to the beta from the main, I would start a new save file. That would be my advice for you, is just go ahead, start a new save file. It's easier than converting all of your old track, and will probably just net you better performance in the long run. So I would advise people to definitely just start a new save and run with that. A little more work, but just get you back to the beginning of the game, and that's kind of what we all started liking in the first place. So it's not a bad way to go, and we'll bring you back to the start. Sounds like it's a lot of work and a lot of effort, but it's really not so bad. I can say that the new track definitely lays in way faster, way easier, so you should find yourself caught back up to yourself in not a lot of time. And hindsight being 2020, I say use that to your advantage, and no worries. So, alright, we will try to get ourselves back up to the locomotive and just kind of chill. Keep everything nice and steady. Yeah, still can use the forward and backwards walk buttons to up and down your throttle while you're in third person. For those that don't know, you can do that. I just walk out here, take a peek around. This part of the track is doing fairly decent. Some of the downhill you definitely do have to pay attention to. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Wrong one. Whoa. We're gonna try to wreck the locomotive in first person. That's what we're gonna do. Not a massive first person driver. Obviously those are watch the channel already know that. I do not tend to drive the locomotive in first person a heck of a lot. It's just the vision, you know? When this is not a thing, I guess you could drive more like this. And lean out the window, but I gotta be honest, I don't do it a heck of a lot, so give it a shot here, see how that goes. Of course, now we actually need to go somewhere. There we go. Uh-oh. No, now we need to stop. Fiddlesticks. Alright, we went too far, that's for sure. Forgot that was that switch, and then I'm trying to do first person when I don't normally do first person. Bad timing. Alright. Probably not too much brake, should we? Oh, now we're stepped sideways. See, that drives me nuts. That's why I don't like doing the lean out. You do the lean out, then you start pivoting on that other foot. Alright. Let's go. Brake off, gas on. Oh, now we're in reverse. Let's go forward. Shaking around. Alright, here we go. We're a train wreck waiting to happen. Whoa, the jump in the cab on. That's a little more intense than it is in third person. Alright, we should be clear to highball on the way. Probably not, I don't know. We'll probably wreck somewhere. I haven't tested this, don't really know. Can't say. We did have some problems running some trains yesterday, just flipping over on completely flat ground. So I guess I shouldn't say that, you know, we're good to go, because who knows. Let's be honest. We'll take a zoom back look as we go through some of this here. Just to get a good look at where we went with the rail. Apologize for the trees getting in the camera view. Definitely have not cut those back yet, as we had to, you know, definitely secure in the route. Should probably take that swivel out. That was a mistake, as we were going to try to get in real tight to the mountain, and then decided we were just running into dips and valleys and didn't want to try to do that. So kind of swung out wider. That's how that happened. Did consider just running straight up the water, or up the creek, wherever you want to say it. Did think about laying the bridge work pretty much just straight up the river, as it would have let us cut down less trees. But again, decided against that, just for the sense of what it looks like and the not real look, I guess, of that. So still trying to keep things real looking while keeping things to a minimum is the idea behind this track. So far we're doing okay. Things could always be better, but we've come out pretty good with it so far. Guess we get a decent view up here. Just kind of take a cruise from here. This valley has always been one of the better looking parts of the game, I found. And with the fall update, I don't think it lets down now, that's for sure. I have to say, I think the locomotives are moving around a lot less. They do seem to be steadier with the updates. Gotta blow back some of these trees. They are just too close. Don't really care for that, if I'm being honest. I like the trees cut back. Not exactly sure how well this will go, but we'll see. With the new trees. There we go, nothing happened. Train didn't go anywhere. So it looks like we're okay. Sometimes these fallen trees will definitely send the locomotive flying. That's definitely been a thing. So I don't advise always to be doing that. There you can see a little bit of performance glitchy as the, but then we are bouncing trees off our locomotive. So, things probably shouldn't be perfectly smooth when we're doing that. But that's a little bit of the performance. Whoa, plopping down a few extra trees here and there. Probably don't want to do a ton of that yet, but some of these have to go because they are really just too close. There, we got it. Barely got it, but we got it. Anything that's running up on the other side looks like it has a bunch that need to be kicked back. But eventually we'll get there as we make loads. Lord knows we all make tons of loads on here, right? So it's just load after load. I don't know how many in total you have to make. I suppose that all depends on the difficulty of the industry settings, but we definitely make a lot of loads, I'll say that. Most of the time, I know I've been asked several times, most of the time I just play on medium industries. I always play on realistic physics with usually medium industries, though I will admit sometimes I turn it down to easy when I don't want to run so many loads, and I turn it up to hard if I find myself in a need of money, because, the more loads you have to run, the more money you have to make in the process. So I do alter the industry difficulty as I go, or have throughout time, that's for sure. That's not a set in stone one. As far as the physics, I always play on realistic physics, so if you have any question about that on any of the videos or anywhere, everything has always been shot on realistic physics. I just don't see the point in not having, if the loads don't have the weight, I don't see the challenge. But that's just how I always chose to play, so I've been on realistic from the start. I think most people play on realistic, so I thought that's the way to go. As far as the industries, sometimes I just don't want to run a ton of loads, but you still want to move things on. And, putting that down on easy sometimes is just a way to get the not good money-making loads done with anyway. So I do that sometimes. Not that I find an issue with that either way. Who knows? You could say commodity pricing changes and that fluctuates the market. Whatever you want to come up with. Sometimes supply is high, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you need money, and sometimes you just want to run loads. So it all just depends on how and what you want to play. To each their own, I've always said. Best thing I like about this game at the end of the day is it really is an open sandbox. We don't have to do anything we don't really want to do. I mean, if all you want to do is run logs, run logs. Do whatever you feel like. That's the joy I find in this game, is that it really is an open sandbox. You can set your own rules, set your own standards, and enjoy it for how you like to play it. So I just go over what we do and why we do it because people ask, so figure out, share it out there with people. But definitely not critiquing anyone's playstyle for any reason. I absolutely enjoy the open sandbox nature of this game. Wish that a lot of other game developers would get that same idea of an open sandbox rather than trying to drive you through an open sandbox where they want you to go on the other side. So I do like that aspect, or appreciate that aspect of the game for sure. I think the one question mark I have in this setup here is going to be where we're going to take a right hand turn coming up here back to a bridge. That part could be possibly questionable as far as running at full tilt, which we are definitely doing. Though I don't think the 48's really winning any races. I don't think it's real super slow either, so don't know how well it's going to do about yanking stuff over completely janky track. And you do see a little bit of rock in the in the stock as it's coming over that. So we may definitely broaden that out a bit at some point. Do still have, this is not high speed set rail yet, like our old track. Things have not been adjusted, fixed, or anything else. We all are on kind of a, you know, first lay through of everything with the beta, with nothing to follow. So we made some improvements in places, and we still obviously have little sections that we will have to alleviate, a little bit of bends here and there, sharp turns, whatever, squiggles where we can, straighten things out a bit, but that'll all come down the line. This, you can see, we just kind of clipped the corner, didn't do anything special. It wasn't about keeping it any place special. It was just really about running it up the mountain. Do you think this, I ran uphill till about right here, and then I went up to the top and worked the rest on the way back down, just because it was starting to become a pain laying uphill. I will say that that's a point of advice I have for anybody coming from the mines, is go up to the mine and lay down the hill. Much easier laying downhill than uphill, I find. Gives you more ability to either follow the grade or adjust the grade as you're coming down. Where going up, you can kind of pigeonhole yourself depending on the grade you've selected. So not sure if how other people agree with that or disagree with that. If you do, put it in the comments down below. How do you like to lay the steep, or the long, steeper graded sections? You like to lay uphill, downhill? Interested to see how everybody else does that one. I know we all have our own styles to lay in track, and not sure if everybody else finds it easier downhill, but I definitely find it easier to lay grade work downhill. So 48, due to some testing, I know Omega was really running some tests the other day, and he, you know, which locomotive can really pull up a steep grade, and the 48, I'll just say, has some surprising results to it. So definitely feeling good hands with this locomotive on a grade. Not the most powerful locomotive in the game, I'm not saying that in the slightest stretch of the word, but I do have to say I am amazed by its performance for the cost and where it stacks up against other things. So not a bad locomotive to choose early on in the game for price and value. That would be my advice. Is and this time I just kind of picked it because I you know, I liked it a lot and where it slotted in, but then seeing its performance as it's coming out being tested, I definitely would now advise people to the 48 is a great starting locomotive for the cost, and well, wood storage, you could definitely have more of it. It's not lacking either, and it can definitely do work for you. I will say that. So didn't think we'd have too much of a problem with the steel here, or the iron rails, and it's definitely not. I mean, you know, it's pulling them with plenty of oomph to spare, and definitely decent control of the speed. I guess at the end of the day, there is an argument that the brakes maybe could be a little better for the 48. Can't say that I totally disagree. I mean, it's got pretty good brakes though, so I'm not going to turn around and say, ooh, it needs better brakes, you know. So definitely one I would advise for the early stage of the game, and I think you'll find a use for it all the way up through the game, to be honest. It's not just a big tubby rail switcher or yard switcher. It is a definitely a functioning locomotive you can get a lot of use out of. So early on, thinking it was just going to be a switcher, little disappointed, but it's pretty good workhorse. As we have arrived. Now, as you can see, normally we have always had, you know, some sort of yard up here, or at least siding storage for rolling stock. Did not go that route this time. Put in an absolute bare minimum turnaround. It's just a little, it's like a bobby pin turnaround is what it is, but it's just, it's pretty much a 30-degree or the tightest radius you could get on these on the circle mode is really what I use to lay this in. So it is tight. Probably in hindsight I would have alleviated that at least 1 or 2 degrees, because we do have a little more room in here to pull that off, but did not. So it is tight, but it functions. Do notice that when you lay track, or the tight track with the circle mode, everything seems to be able to go around it. So every locomotive in the game, we have noticed, can do the sharpest turn. Oop, looks like we're gonna over pull our drop just a little bit. I'm not exactly sure where we have to drop these on the dock. Wonder if we can drop them anywhere, or if they have to be before the steel. Or the iron rails, sorry. We'll just stretch it out and see how much of the dock we can use. No time to find out like the now. So let's just see. Half load overlap. Good to go. That generally works. Let's see. Bring up the pace. See if that's dropping. It is dropping. Boom. Alright, and these are actually going to finally start to pay off. Nice thing with these is it's a pain when you're loading them because there's 10, but it's nice when you're dropping them off, because these actually do start to, you know, as you'll see there, the money is actually starting to add up now. These are a decent paying load. You just don't run them a heck of a lot, so, but they do pay decent by the time you get 10. I'm not exactly sure how much each one is. I mean, they're an odd number, I know that, so they jump up kind of weird. One more to go. This I have to say, I do enjoy having the yellow car on the back. It does kind of help you when you're lining up at the docks, so, you know, helpful thing there. If you don't run a caboose, having a brake car on the back does kind of help some. So there we go. As you can see, we got 40 out of 60. A little disappointed we don't have 6 on there, but I don't know how long the cars we're eventually going to run on this one, or we're not going to run. So currently we're just kind of keeping everything down. So it's going to take some work running some more loads, but we are going to call that one a win. Nice, simple setup. And there's a coal mine run for those who are curious. So thanks for tuning in. And remember, if you get a chance, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day.